Hello, everybody. Hello, Lennon.
I'm so excited.
Yippee!
This
is
about
Hesher Lennon. Oh, yeah. Talk about what? What are we talking about?
I think we're talking about Star Wars.
Oh my God. All right, we're doing a new little series called Does This Movie Still Hold Up? We're going to look at some movies from our childhood or earlier. I mean, when was this movie out? The 70s? I'm not that old. Lennon might be.
Hey, what the fuck, dude?
You dropped out on my end. That was
I moisturize. I look after myself. I don't look like I'm that old, right?
No, you look good. You look good. Your hairline's just as strong as it was when I met you.
Thanks, man. You're the wind beneath my wings.
But yeah, we are. So the first couple movies that we're going to look at is the original trilogy of Star Wars, the Trig. So first up on the chopping block, and we decide if it's good or not. This movie that's fairly universally loved is A New Hope, Episode 4. This is how I learnt my Roman numerals, by the way. This
oh, really?
film series. Yeah. They don't really teach it in school, and like. I constantly ask Dad, what the hell is that? Why is it, what, V? I've forgotten it now.
Is that
anyway.
You dropped out when you were in grade 6?
Okay. Well, that wasn't meant for the internet.
Oh, okay. So I guess what we're trying to do is we're just trying to revisit these like iconic movies from pretty much any era, I guess, but just to see if they still hold up today.
And I think we're starting off in the right zone. Like, I mean, what does every boy do when they grab anything like a broom or a large stick? What sound effect do you make intuitively? Do it. Do the sound. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I passed the test.
That sort of sucked, but like.
Oh, what the fuck?
All right, I'll try. Is that it? No, that was a truck.
I don't think that was it either.
Yeah, okay. Well, you try to make the noises. But yeah, so we start off with one of the most iconic series. Just for anyone that has been living under a rock. Quick plot point of the story, we're not going to cover this too much, but space farm boy, Luke Skywalker discovers a hidden message from Princess Leia, and he joins forces with an old Obi-Wan Kenobi to rescue her from the evil Empire, the space Nazis. Alongside a smuggler, Han Solo, and his allies, he helps destroy the big old Death Star, a massive space station capable of obliterating planets. In the end, Luke learns about the Force and is a hero, and he learns about friendship. That's this whole movie.
You know what I learned about
what
this?
What did you learn?
I learned about Luke by rewatching this movie, Hesher, that Luke is a fucking simp.
Okay. Rewatching this movie, and we'll get to what we ultimately think at the end, but rewatching this movie, he's a bit of a whiny twink.
Oh, dude. But I was going to go to Toshi Station for the power converters. Uncle Owen. Oh.
That is the quote I have. I only have 2 notes on this about Luke. I only have 2 notes, and that is a whiny twink, and then I've got in quotations, but I was going to go to Tadashi Station to pick up some power converters. Like,
it's when he is like trying to fix the restraining belt on R2-D2 or whatever it is, and then the Princess Leia message pops up. He's just like, oh, hubba. He's like, oh, is there more? Is there more of this? For no reason, of course, but is there any more of this message?
Fairly consistently throughout the movie, he doesn't really give a fuck about R2-D2. Like,
no, God no. There's like another point later on the movie where Han and Leia, they're kind of just like rubbing each other the wrong way, I guess. And then she turns to Luke and she's like, oh, your friend here only seems to care about himself. And then he's like, oh, well, I care, Princess Leia. And it's just like, shut up, Luke. You're not helping yourself.
That's your sister. You don't know it yet, but no, Luke. Don't do it.
But I don't know. I guess just overall, like, what do you think of the characters in this movie?
Overall, I do like Luke. I do like Luke. But like, I think when going into this, watching this now, I really tried to just go in like erasing all Star Wars knowledge because George Lucas thought that this movie was going to be a flop. He did not know that there was going to be a whole universe from this. And in saying that, it's still such a rich movie. Like it's almost surprising to me that there was that attitude because there's so many things in this with the characters. Off the rip, it was so good to watch this movie and just be instantly reminded of why Darth Vader is one of the most iconic villains to ever exist.
Couldn't agree more.
His intro to this movie, walking in, snapping that dude's neck, he's calling the shots, he's threatening, he's got menace. You've got that score behind. Who does the score throughout this movie? It's John Williams. Amazing. Everything about this is great. Darth Vader's character design is timeless. That hasn't aged one bit. I mean, I love it. C-3PO, the robots sort of annoyed me a little. Maybe I really liked them as a kid. C-3PO is also, like Luke, written to be a gay man, I'm pretty sure. Like, what are your thoughts on the bots here?
Even as a kid, when I used to watch this, I think the intention behind the robots is that they're meant to be quite snappy and annoying and be bursting with personality, but it's just dialed up to 11, which is just really annoying. And maybe it's to make the human characters maybe a little bit more tolerable. I don't know.
Yeah, I sort of get why in that really cool trendy bar in Mos Eisley, why they're like, we don't allow your bot kind here. Like, I wouldn't if they were all like that.
Allowed.
Yeah, robo racist over here. Like, if they all acted like that, I'd be like, oh, what a vibe killer. I don't want C-3PO in here, man. But no, hilarious character. I mean, the robots are great, but like overall, I love all the characters within this, even the annoying ones. Obi-Wan.
He's such a senile old man.
I think he works great though. He fits that trope so good. His intro to the movie is hilarious.
So good.
I can't do it, but the thing he does to scare off the Tusken Raiders, I nearly pissed myself. Like, I was listening to it, I was like, dude, that is.
I think he's like trying to make a crate dragon noise or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like, what is that?
We haven't heard what a crate dragon sounds like at this point in the franchise. Like, we have no idea. It sounds ridiculous. But no, I really enjoy some bits. Like, I know maybe it wasn't fully fleshed out. Like, obviously the spoiler that we'll get into in future movies, but I really do enjoy the way that Obi-Wan talks about Anakin, you know, like Luke's father. I think that has aged great because it sort of gives like this context of he considers that person dead. I think that works really well. I think so many things about Obi-Wan's character works really well that I just didn't expect when I turned this movie on. Yeah.
So I mean, I guess just building on top of that, so I might jump in and share my thoughts on him. Well, not necessarily him, but I think this is just my thoughts on the movie as a whole. Mm-hmm. I think that in hindsight, with the prequel, like, it's so cool that there's basically a prequel trilogy that is kind of just built around this one throwaway line about the Clone Wars and all that stuff, and Anakin and all that, and a great TV series. Just putting that out there. Yeah, just putting it out there. Putting it out there. We're from, I guess, the future perspective with all this extra Star Wars content that we're now watching this movie, and all of this stuff has been fleshed out. It's really cool to just hear that there's a deeper context behind some of the conversations that are in just this initial movie. But one thing that I actually really admired when watching this movie again is just how much I feel like George Lucas and obviously everyone that worked on this movie just got it right the first time when it came to the characters, when it came to the design, when it came to the world building.
Dude, I almost forgot what all practical sets looked like.
Oh,
like,
man,
being in modern era cinema, I'm like, this all looks so rich and lived in.
Honestly incredible that nothing like this was really, at least from my current understanding, nothing was done like this at the time.
Actually,
like this.
the Dune books that this is all ripped off from is exactly what this was. So check
all right,
yourself
any kudos I was about to give, just fucking throw that out the window. George Lucas is a hack. But no, I genuinely think that it just nailed the vibe, and had they not nailed the vibe originally, I just don't think that we'd have this long-lasting series that has, lasted over almost 50 years at this point.
Yeah.
But as far as like character goes, kind of like what you touched on before with Luke, he is a bit of a whiny bitch in this story. Yeah, I think that he doesn't really get a lot of character development as much as, say, like Han does in this movie. Like Han is just like a really selfish scoundrel.
I really hope this guy doesn't have a horrible spin-off movie in the future and then gets killed by his son.
What beef do you have with the Solo movie? That's a good movie.
Okay, well, I guess we'll revisit that in the future.
Okay, I guess we will. But maybe just moving on a little bit further. So just talking about another thing that I noticed from this movie, I think the reason why this, spoiler for the end of this video, why I think this movie holds up so well is that it's just going at a breakneck pace. Like, something is always happening throughout the movie. And even if the characters are just chilling for like a minute or two, it's like, fuck, we've got another thing we've got to deal with. We've got another fire to put out. And I just think that works so well.
A small note, I will go off on two little tangents here, but but a small note on breakneck pace. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing for me to admit. I don't know if it's just maybe I had better reading comprehension as a child or if TikTok's ruined my attention span, but I genuinely struggled with the intro credits crawl.
Yeah.
I was reading it. I was like, oh my God, how did I ever read this as a kid?
They are pretty excruciating. They just go on and on and on.
First 10 seconds of the movie, I was like, oh, I'm fucked. Like, oh no.
You're like, oh man, I'm here to watch a movie. I'm not here to read.
Yeah, what is this nerd shit? Watching
Speaking
Star Wars.
of nerds, have you seen the Rebel Alliance's helmets? Like, you know, I feel like if I lived in this universe, I would like to think that I'd be a part of the Rebel Alliance, but man, did they not luck out when it came to their uniform. That's a
rule. Yeah, that's a rule that might have been established in this movie, but that's a rule that's in all cinema and maybe even world history. The bad guys look cool, you know, and the good guys look like lame nerds. All right, well, going off your point there, what do you think the breakneck pace of everything, and what do you think your favorite sequence in this movie was?
I'd say that my favorite sequence is when Han, Chewie, and Luke are just constantly having to improvise what their plan is, and it's just like, oh, there's the princess. Well, we've got to come up with a plan. Oh, here's the plan. This is what we're going to do. And then like Han's like talking to whichever generic Imperial officer is on the other end, and he's just like, oh, hey, everything's fine here. How are you? Oh, shit. And you can just feel how awkward it is.
Yeah, you've gone very micro on sequence. Okay, when I say a sequence, I've got a little idea of what I wanted to say.
All right, well, tell me what you're thinking.
But I think it's pretty much the same thing you just said, but larger and better, maybe. My favorite sequence is basically just everything to do with the initial Death Star raid.
Yeah.
That, like, because I didn't want to call that a scene. There's multiple scenes throughout that.
Sure.
It's the second act, I guess, is pretty much that. But I love how the characters are bouncing off each other in a really fun way. When Leia, Han, and Luke eventually meet up, they just work really well. The bot's struggling with backup when they think they've killed them in the pit. Everything works. You got a fleshed out idea of the stormtroopers and the other henchmen, and then it climaxes and finishes with the death of Obi-Wan. That's all great.
That's a great scene too.
That's my favorite part of the movie is just this section 2. I do think, I don't want to go against what you say because I do still agree, but I do think Act 3 maybe slows down a little bit, maybe just because it's right after this. But
no, well, I've got complaints about the final act. Yeah.
Well, yeah, go for it.
It's more specifically just to do with the ending. Like, everything about this movie is great, in my opinion. It does a really good job at setting up this world that we're, you know, people who watched it at the time, I'm so jealous that they would have had their minds blown in the cinema, but it does a really great job at that, but it doesn't do a good job at, I think, sticking the landing with the ending, because it just feels a little bit like generic and not personal, I guess. Like, I feel like...
Well, Darth Vader and Luke never talk to each other.
No, they just basically have like a dogfight in like these TIE fighters, and Vader just spins out into space. Yeah. Like, he's just like this cheesy villain of the week kind of thing. And that is odd for a villain
and a hero to not really directly interact with each other. I mean, that's nitpicking a little, but I did notice it on this watch.
Yeah, so I'd say that that's probably, and maybe it's something we've never really thought about in the past because we have grown up with the context of the original trilogy always being a trilogy.
Yeah, you just hop straight into the next movie.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we just never really thought about it, but just trying to look at this movie as a solo movie, I didn't feel like that was satisfying. So I think that's probably my main issue with the ending, but I can understand, like, to be able to set up that Death Star run and all that stuff, like, I can understand how that probably slowed down a little bit because they had to do all that necessary build up towards that final climactic battle. But I guess my issue is that I just didn't find it all that climactic. That's all.
Yeah, that's the thing. And for a movie that I think sets things up so greatly, like everything that went on with Moff Tarkin taking out Alderaan.
Grand Moff Tarkin. Oh my God.
That brings the stakes up quite a lot. Like that I remember as a kid, I remember just thinking like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. It's like a real life event for me. That's a holy shit moment.
That's my 9/11. No, he's like, that guy is so good. Basically any of the Imperial officers in this movie are just so like mustache twirling evil villains. And Grand Moff Tarkin himself, he is so trigger happy. Like, even just with the context of Rogue One, he's like trying to blow up like Ben Mendelsohn or something like that. He's like, oh, I just want to fucking shoot this thing as much as I can. I gotta respect it.
Yeah, and like even just really quick on all the villains, I love like the way the dynamics all work, like just how imposing like Darth is, and how he sometimes almost seems second to Tarkin, but in a very different way. And,
it's almost like he challenges Vader, or he's like, your Force stuff is just some stupid religion bullshit.
I was about to say that meeting that they have with Moff and all the generals, they're giving Darth Vader a lot of shit. He does kill one of them, but like they're giving Darth Vader, they're like, your crazy hippie religion, and then he's like, I'm gonna kill you.
He's like, oh, what was that?
That'd be like the real life version of like us going down to like Nimbin for a weekend and seeing one of those hippies talking about their third eye, and then they just Doctor Strange us through a million dimensions. Like, just
what did you say about reggae? It's like,
and then you just fly backwards.
It's so funny because like in that moment, well, not funny actually, I thought it was really cool. You can hear the power shift. They do this heavy bass whenever he's using the Force. Talk about this.
The sound effects. It's like
so
this low.
good.
I've never consciously thought about that other than watching this movie with the aim to review it. But the sound effects in this are just so good, and that is not one that I expected to just. It's like this low, like you can feel it in your chest. It's so good.
Really impactful, I think, and really effective.
Yeah, 100%. And then so I'll bring it back to what I was trying to say about your point there about that. Sort of being a bit disappointing, but you have so many moments like that. And then for it just to be like a little skirmish with I do like how Han comes back though.
Yeah.
Like the last scene doesn't have nothing.
No. Well, that's what I mean. There's character development there for someone like Han, which I really like. And that is satisfying. Not as satisfying for Luke. And Leia is more just like, she's a damsel, but she's not in distress. Like, she can look after herself kind of thing. But yeah, I agree. I like how like Han comes back around. You know what the most disappointing thing about the ending is for me? Oh, hit me. Luke's final drip with the yellow jacket is the best drip he has for the whole movie. He could have been wearing that the whole damn time. Yeah, he should have been wearing that shit. He looks steezed up. That was so cool. He should have been wearing that when he was getting the power converters. Yeah, he wouldn't have seemed so whiny. He would have seemed cool about it. All right, well, I got two little dot points that I want to talk about, but I just really want to sort of hit like a bit of this video where we just saw any last thoughts before we get into our verdict. Do you have any last thoughts about this? Before we get into like review-based stuff, just like silly little things you might have noticed, or 100%. So basically, before we go to our verdict, I mean, spoiler, I think everyone can probably tell what I think. Just the two little tangents that I want to go on. Going back to the whole tie-in stuff with, you know, the extra additional content or movies that have been made since this original trilogy, the Clone Wars tie-in, the speaking about Anakin and all that stuff, I thought that was really cool. Sometimes, though, it is a little bit inconsistent. Like, say, for example, Kenobi doesn't recognize the droids. Yeah. How does he not recognize them? And I don't know if that has been explained away and extended canon or something like that. It probably has. But the only other thing I was going to say is that as far as, say, their character interactions and the Force, so I think the way that they handle the Force was really interesting, because it's kind of like they never really explain too much of it. Like, they are very... You mean they don't talk about midichlorians in the bloodstream? I feel like, so the comparison, let's just look at the characters. You said how Leia, Han, and Luke are like, with the rescue, how they're like bouncing off of each other and interacting with each other. You can feel the chemistry here, and you can feel like they're not trying to quip their way through every single conversation and have like zingers the whole time. It just works. The dialogue, I think, between them works, and you can feel that they enjoy being around each other. So I think that works, where it's really hard to get that in modern movies or TV shows, I think, which is something to say about just how effective this movie is at just getting us on board with the main characters, but also with the Force. I really like how there's this mysticism, but it doesn't feel like it has to explain absolutely everything about the Force in this movie. Like, you know, there's a moment where Vader's like, oh, I sense this feeling of the Force, this presence that I haven't quite felt since, and then he just fucks off. It's just like, oh, okay, well, I like how you can imply or you can connect the dots, but it doesn't have to just explicitly spell out absolutely everything about the Force in this movie. Whereas I feel like if this was made today, I feel like it would just have to spell everything out. But what about you? Couldn't agree more. I guess one thing now, this is where I've sort of put a couple notes. Well, this one's definitely nitpicky, but
because it's definitely something you can just overlook and just enjoy the movie 100%. But I still don't understand why those two dudes don't shoot 3PO and R2-D2 out of the sky at the start of the movie. They see a pod escape and they're like, there's no life forms. They know.
Why not shoot it anyway? We're not going to miss this bullet.
Yeah. Also, robots. Like if I was on that, I would be like, yeah, there's no life forms. Why are you mentioning that, you fucking idiot? There's probably a robot in this room right now. Like, why don't we have tech to scan for that? I don't know. That's something that. But also, what world would we live in if they did shoot 3PO and R2-D2 out of the sky just then? We wouldn't have this movie. So it's a silly little nitpick, but I just sort of, it's immediately caught me as soon as I watched it. I was
funny.
looking at the screen and I was like, shoot it. Like, shoot them.
It's so funny that you were caught up on that, because I actually had a very similar thought about that exact same scene, but I actually thought it was clever how this is a movie released in 1977, and they're thinking so far ahead about, we'll just use this terminology of like, detecting a life form on this escape pod. I'm like, that's actually really forward thinking, because there wouldn't be any technology or anything like that back then. So the fact that they could differentiate that in a movie, in this sci-fi movie, that feels very forward thinking to me. But I totally see where you're coming from as well.
Yeah, where I was just like, hey,
that sucks.
Robots, you pilot things with robots all the time. But yeah, and then I guess the only other thing that I sort of had from this movie that didn't really fit neatly in a review setting was I know there's 100 spin-off shows and movies, and there probably is a bit on this in maybe one of like the Rebels TV shows or something, but I wanted so much more from the Mos Eisley Cantina. Like I would love like a show that just revolves around the criminals and scum and villainy that come in and out of that place. You could do it like a Sunny in Philadelphia. Like you just follow the bartenders and their adventures with them. You know what I mean?
That's such a good idea.
Like just do it like Sunny in Philadelphia. We get attached to like the main gang, and like you could even do the same intro credit, like, you know, where the Force is silly, the Force is dumb, and then the intro credit is the gang gets choked out by Darth Vader. You know, like just
stop
and then
the
like,
recording. We're going straight to Disney HQ and we're pitching this idea right now. It's so good.
As soon as we got into that world and as soon as we hit Mos Eisley, obviously I knew what was coming, but just even looking at the characters around, the design, it's some of the most rich character design in this movie, because I guess for the rest of it you're following mainly, you know, Rebels or Empire. In this, you've got all these, like, you got a werewolf guy and you got all these crazy aliens that I don't think we'll really see again until we go to Jabba the Hutt's palace.
No.
But like, this was just such a cool scene for me, and I was like, damn, why do they make so many movies and series about stuff I personally don't care about? Do this. This would be perfect.
I love that Kenobi is just like, he's a Jedi, and Jedi are notoriously at this point in the universe meant to be hidden or extinct, and he's just like in the middle of this fucking popping off bar, and he just lights his lightsaber, cuts someone's arm off, and it's like, no big deal. He doesn't give a fuck. He's not even trying to hide.
Also, something else that strikes me is he does the famous Jedi mind trick.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever thought about it until now, but they really don't utilize that trick in future movies that well.
It's just that one time.
Yeah, it's just like, that is a great trick. I think they sort of explain it only works on people that are sort of dumb. There's so many dumb people.
Yeah.
You can brainwash people. Anyway, okay, let's start wrapping this up.
Should we start wrapping up?
yeah, let's start wrapping this up. Lennon, we'll start with you. We've already sort of made your opinion clear, but what did you think about this on a rewatch? Did it hold up?
Yeah, so I definitely think it does. I think that it's a bit clunky, it's a bit rough around the edges, and I think that it does. Well, I was going to say it looks like a product of its time, but it really doesn't. Like
it looks so good for its time.
It's shot really well. I love the colors, which you can't see. I love the sounds. I love the design of the, like, you know, the costumes, the setting. Just the idea of a fucking lightsaber is just so revolutionary. I just think it's awesome. But the fact that I could really notice on this rewatch that the pace of this movie is done so masterfully, where, you know, it's a bit slow at the start, it's a bit slow at the end, but in the middle, where everything is just happening, it's just like, you know, it's like, oh fuck, we're in a dogfight with the TIE fighters. Oh shit, now we're in a tractor beam. Oh shit, now we should get the stormtroopers up here and steal their uniforms. Oh shit, we need to rescue the princess. Oh shit, let's pretend that Chewie's a prisoner. And then it just keeps going and going and going. And it doesn't feel exhausting. So I think that it's really entertaining. Is it the best Star Wars movie? I don't think it is, but I definitely think it holds up today. What about you, Hesher?
I could not agree more. I think it definitely holds up. Everything about it, because I was sort of going into this again, as I said earlier, I was going into this trying to think like this is the only movie that exists, and then I'm going into this completely fresh slated, But even if I was to pick this movie up for the first time today, I think there's so many things that are just endearing and quaint, and like I love the design, I love the universe that you're sort of thrust into. I think the biggest thing that sort of like resonated with me again for a second time, I guess, is just how much this universe feels full. Does that make sense? Like how much this universe just feels like the characters work great together. The costumes all make sense for where these characters are in their lives and what side of this intergalactic war they're on, and even just the sets or the different planets that we visit, everything just looks great. And I do love that gritty, almost away from like the clean, pristine like Star Trek universe. Like I love that gritty sort of space universe that these guys exist in. I think on a rewatch, this is amazing. There's obviously some like clunky bits. Yeah, sure, we've talked on that. But I don't think any of that really makes me not enjoy even the clunkiest bits of this. Even Luke at his most whiny and twinky are thoroughly enjoyable. I think that's the main, and in a fictional world where there's no sequels, I would want to see more from this universe. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now that's famous last words, because now we've got maybe a bit too much, but but I think the takeaway is this is aged beautifully, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. Hello everybody, and hello Lennon.
Hi Hesher, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. We are continuing on our series of Does This Movie Still Hold Up? And today we are looking at a movie, a famous movie, a very famous movie, the best movie. And in this we have, some rogue heroes, and they all go off on their own separate little adventures, and then they come together to face the big bad, and then they lose. Do you know what movie we're talking about today, Lennon?
I couldn't possibly say. Is it Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers?
It's Infinity War. No, damn it. No, today we are obviously looking at Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. After last week, we checked out A New Hope, so check that out. But I'm just going to do a quick little brief summary of the plot, and then we're going to hop straight into our thoughts and opinions, because we're just two loud boys who have lots of thoughts and opinions on things.
I have thought.
Yeah, you have thought, and I have thought too. After the Empire attacks a rebel base on Hoth, the heroes scatter across the universe. Han and Leia flee across the galaxy while Luke travels to the Dagobah system to train under a new Master Jedi.
Basically, the galaxy's armpit.
Yeah, just gross, swampy me whenever I wake up in the morning. As Luke struggles with patience and self-doubt, Han and Leia's bond deepens and gets a little bit sexy.
Ooh.
Their separate journeys mirror each other, one of growing faith and the other of survival and endurance, both leading towards an inevitable confrontation with the Empire's Dark Sith Lord, Dark Daddy. So that's basically the plot. How do you think I did?
You did really well. You know what, Kim? I think you read between the lines, and I think that you pick up on the subtext of the story, which I think is just really profound and really, really great to hear.
Yeah, Google helped me out a lot with that, but hey. But this is why you come to us, listeners and readers, and you don't read this. You could CC, you could put closed captions on. Not a way I would watch a YouTube video, but you could do that. No, but let's just hop into what do we think of where we pick up with our characters from here on. I for one, I'm a fan of this Luke fellow. This Luke guy is really starting to come around.
He's less whiny this time around, I've noticed.
That was my first note. That's my first note on Luke. He has more agency in this one, which I am very happy with. In both, I think this movie is a little bit darker in tone, which I'm a fan of. I love that sort of stuff, but he does have this hopeless optimism that I don't find annoying like I normally would in a lot of characters.
Yeah, he's definitely more enjoyable this time around, and I think just overall, just the delivery of just himself as a character and how he's shown in this movie, and just how the movie is structured as a whole, I just think is completely different than this movie doesn't need to waste time setting up. It's just like, all right, everyone knows who these people are, let's just get to it.
And I think the dynamics between all the characters work all the better for that. They're a lot more fleshed out. They're fitting their archetypes a lot better, even though I don't think I necessarily had a problem with how they were in the first one, other than, Luke was a bit whiny. But I think this highlights just how much better these characters can be I see this as improvements on characterization all across. Even, okay, C-3PO. Last episode I said he sort of annoyed me. And on paper, he does more annoying things in this movie. And he's more of an annoying character. But it works.
I think that's because everyone in this movie kind of acknowledges how annoying he is as well. Like, he just like keeps piping up and everyone's just telling him to shut up, and you're just like, you know what? I resonate with these people. I agree.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Bully the gold robot. Excellent. Yeah. That's perfect. But yeah, no, like Luke's better. C-3PO's better. Han, I love his, because in the first one he's a rotten scoundrel of a man, but he's very capable. Whereas I think there's a slight difference in this. He's a bit of a fuck up in this, but like
he just wants to smooch.
He just wants to smooch. Like I'm thinking also, like, even when he saves everyone, he still lands them in trouble. Like, you know, he navigates that asteroid field, which doesn't make sense because asteroids don't clump together like that in space unless they're in something's orbit.
Bloody scientist Cam over here.
I was like, oh, what are they doing? Because I think this is one of those things that, like, I heard years ago as a child on the internet, and I was just like, yes, well, I don't care about science. And I googled it again in preparation for this, and I was like, yes.
So you know what else? You know what else isn't real, Cam? The fucking Force. The Force doesn't work.
That. You don't know that. If I keep concentrating, I will be able to move my vape directly into my hand from across the room, and you can't prove anything else.
There was one time when I was a kid. There was one time when I was a kid where I was staying up late playing PlayStation 2. I had a couple of Freddo frogs, and the wrapper were still. I passed out and they were like underneath me, so obviously all this friction was building up while I was sleeping, and I woke up and they were just clinging to me. I thought I woke up with the Force, and I was like, oh my god, it's happening. But no, I was just an idiot. This is only this is only 2 weeks ago, by the way.
Nice. No, but I mean, I do like how Han, like, even when he gets a win going to that asteroid field, he lands directly into the mouth of a giant worm creature.
Just a worm. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it's stuff like that I really like. And I guess to round out the trio, the main trio that we got, Leia. I do like Leia a lot in this. I think
I like her a lot more in this movie.
Yeah, and she fits that royal sort of archetype. She is. I wouldn't say she doesn't have this in the first movie, but I do like how much she bosses this naive young sort of like Luke. Like, he's just a hopeful optimist, and then you've got this raggedy, you know, scoundrel of a man in Han, and she's sort of like bossing them around, and she's kissing both of them.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
Dude, I forgot that the Luke and Leia kiss was so early in the movie.
The sibling smooch.
Well, I obviously remembered it happened, but I thought it was at the end. She does kiss him at the end, but she also kisses him right at the start, and Luke looks way too happy about it.
Yeah. Like, so when they have that smooch or whatever, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I think everyone kind of defends it because it's like, oh yeah, like, you know, Luke and Leia, they didn't know, you know, so it's fine. We know, but they didn't know. But in the same movie, freaking Ivan Kirshner is setting up that they are kind of in tune with each other in the Force, and he can talk to her through the Force. So it's like, I feel like he knew, even in this movie, that they were brother and sister.
I've got something else. I've got something else that confirms that they know that they're related.
Okay.
Or, I mean, just something that I want to theorize a little bit with you about.
Their birth certificate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it clearly has their names on it, and they kiss on top of it. It's crazy, that scene. we got to check out what the hell George Lucas has been doing with his does he have siblings? We'll Google that after this.
I don't know.
Okay, no, the thing that I was thinking was when Luke finishes his training and runs away to save Han and Leia, Obi-Wan, his Force Ghost Obi-Wan says, that boy was our last hope, and then Yoda says, no, there is another. So are they talking about Leia? Because in extended lore, that's often Leia, that's the other one.
I'm pretty sure.
And the only reason she has powers is because she's a Skywalker. Is that what they're talking about?
Nah, I'm pretty sure they're talking about Vader, because you know, how he's meant to be the chosen one in the prequels and all that stuff, and then everyone's like, oh, he's not the chosen one, how could you, Anakin, and all that stuff. But then on a technicality, he is actually the one who overthrows the Emperor and throws him down that really long ventilation shaft. And
I misread that because I was just like, oh my god, they're talking about Leia. Oh my god, they know they're related. Oh my god, he didn't tell him and he knows they kissed.
We weren't there at the time. That could have been the intention. Who knows? It could be a retcon, you know?
Interesting.
Just like J.J. Abrams retconned a lot of the good work that Rian Johnson did. No one ever said that. We're not
getting into those
No one ever said that. Well, if I could just close out a couple of my thoughts on some of the characters.
Main trio,
yeah, so Luke is given so much more, and I think that he is still a little bit, not bratty, but he's very rash in the sense that, you know, he hasn't completed his training. He's obviously bitching and moaning about like, oh, where's Yoda? And then, you know, Yoda's being a fucking senile menace in this movie. He's just like absolutely crazy. But then I do like that he's like, you know what? I haven't completed my training, but I got to help my friends. I got to go, even though it's obviously a trap. And with Han, I feel like Harrison Ford just, you know, did more Harrison Ford isms in this movie, and it just works so well. And I thought he was probably the strongest character or the strongest performance in the previous one, and I think he still is here, but even more so. With Leia, I think that Leia's got layers, am I right? She's, you know, she's shown more of a softer side in this movie, which I think makes her a lot more sympathetic rather than just like, you know, oh, here's the damsel princess that we had to rescue kind of thing. Outside of that, I think any new character added in this movie, I think it's incorporated so well, because usually when there's new characters, you got to like learn about their backstory, and you got to like, it takes you in a completely different direction, where anything that was added in this movie only just complements the existing characters more. It doesn't take away from them. And that was basically it.
Oh, well, okay. Well, how about I just speed round my other notes and then we can talk about who we want to talk about, which is Darth Vader.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, real quick, my notes. Yoda, a lot of fun. Such a fun trope. The silly master, he plays the serious and the silly so well.
Absolute rapscallion.
Absolute rapscallion, and I do love his little tinkering with R2-D2 when he bonks him. And I do also like when Luke's like, I'm not afraid, and then he's like, you will be. Love that. Lando, so sick. Lando, love Lando. I want more Lando. I would love more Lando. I swear from memory there was more Lando and Han before the betrayal, but I wish there was more Lando in this.
Well, I think their performances carry you can tell that they're long-time buddies and they have history with each other. It does make you want to see more of
it. Not necessarily a complaint, because it did work really well.
It does make you want to see a movie in 2018 called Solo, where that one character is played by Childish Gambino, Donald Glover.
Insane that you already fan cast that so quickly. And I guess like the last little tidbit, little character, the Emperor. I think the Emperor is well seen. I know it was just, like edited heavily after the release of this back when, but I do think that works so well, especially knowing about the Vader Daddy twist. I think it is a very layered scene because you can sort of see Vader trying to convince the Emperor that, hey, Luke could join us, da-da-da-da-da. Very, very layered scene just for that small amount that it is. And I guess Chewbacca, goddamn, I just throw him in. He seems more like a puppy dog in this movie, and I like that. I like a sidekick puppy dog sort of guy. Like, he hugs Luke, he's being a silly guy when he's repairing the Falcon at the start. Love that. Yeah. Okay, Darth Daddy. What are your thoughts about Darth Daddy in this movie?
Well, because you touched on the Emperor, I think that the Emperor actually adds to Darth Vader's character in this movie. I think that with Darth Vader, you know, he was the big bad in the previous one, and he still is here, and he's just as intimidating. But I like that we're getting a little bit more, a bit of a peel. I was going to say behind the mask or the helmet, but we actually kind of see underneath his helmet at one stage where you can kind of see that he's like scarred and kind of vulnerable and all that stuff. And you're like, what the fuck is up with that? Like, obviously we know, but just imagine what it would be like watching this for the first time. You're getting a little bit of a glimpse or a little bit more of like, oh, what's this guy's deal? And picking up on the fact that he is so vehemently, like furiously wanting to take down Luke. And then it kind of starts to shift, the tone starts to shift where he's wanting to actually try and see if he can get Luke underneath him, so to speak.
Pause. He's already hooking up with one family member.
No, but you know what I mean. As his like apprentice or whatever, he's like, you can see that he's actually wanting to keep Luke alive if he can.
Yeah.
And I find that dynamic is interesting, and even how you see Vader involved with, like, you know, he's basically forcing Lando to betray his friends, and like he's conniving, and there's nothing he won't do to get his way. And I think that's really interesting to see in this movie. What do you think?
I think in this, it's different depictions of rage. I think there's at the start of this movie, especially when he's barreling down on Hoth and all that, he seems there's a rage that we haven't seen really in Darth Vader. He's so coldly intimidating in the first movie, but in this one he seems genuinely angry and upset. Not just like, you know, angry and upset like when he like chokes out a random general here and there, but like he seems to have a lot more action towards taking down our main cast. And I think one of the only criticisms I had of A New Hope was there wasn't many interactions or stakes between Darth Vader and our trio, whereas in this it does feel deeply personal for obvious reasons later on. But even at the start of the movie, he is enraged by the rebels and he needs to take out, you know, these guys that blew up the Death Star in the last movie. Then that rage almost turns more into a little bit of a purpose. Like he is still very angry in like the last scenes, but there's like this level of restraint which I think really informs the character really well for stuff like, you know, where they move in the prequels. He harnesses his rage, and that stuff didn't really exist yet, so it's really laying the groundwork for, you know, what makes a Sith side user, what makes a person like this. And I think just there's so many things that we get introduced to of Darth Vader. One, yes, the scarring under his helmet. I love also his little egg pod thing. I think that's one of my favorite just solo snapshots of the Darth Vader mythos, is that he is entombed in this thing, and they do flesh it out. You know, he's a lot of the time in a Bacta tank. I'm pretty sure you see the Bacta tank in stuff like Rogue One. But this sort of stuff, this is a great Darth Vader movie, even not even including the I am your father little plot twists at the end there, just throughout. It also has one of my favorite ways a villain has pussied out on their end of a deal, which is, and it still keeps in line with his character so much, when he's saying to Lando, when he's, I can't remember exactly how he's dodging out on the deal, but when he goes, I'm altering the deal, pray that I do not alter it any further.
Yeah.
one of the coldest lines. And also a lot of characters, you would, if they did something like that, you'd be like, oh, dog ass. But this like perfectly fits Darth Vader's character. He just does not give a fuck. He will just do that, and it's still threatening and imposing. I don't know, everything to do with Vader, except for maybe like one or two moments in the final fight. I wonder if you can guess what I don't like about the final fight, actually. Specifically with Darth Vader.
Is it the fact that he is stopping and talking and trying to taunt? It almost feels like he's just giving away his plan as he's going along, and he's like just talking smack with Luke.
Not quite, because his intentions have shifted to trying to get Luke under his wing. He's trying to like seduce him to the dark side. That's not quite. My issue is some of the jank ass force moves that they do when he's throwing stuff at him. I'm a big fan of lightsaber in one hand, other hand using the force. But there's like, he moves his lightsaber to move some shit, and I forgot that happened, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
It's such a nitpick, but I was just like, bro, like there's one where he throws like a computer or something from the wall at Luke, and he just slightly moves his lightsaber down, and then 2 seconds later the thing slowly moves towards Luke, and I'm like, this was a perfect scene. Until I saw that jank ass force move. Yeah. Small thing.
I didn't notice scene. Stuff like that, but I guess I can see where you're coming from. Maybe it's a bit more of like a product of its time.
It just caught me. I think it just caught me a little bit. I would have loved just to see his hand throw out the little throw computer at this guy. But I mean, to be honest, it is nitpicking, because that scene is amazing. I really love, there's no score for parts of that scene. All you can hear is Vader breathing and the lightsabers, which is great. The only that no scored part of that fight, the only music of that is a little sting at the end when Luke loses his hand, and then it goes straight into the "I am your father" speech. Yeah. So very effective for Darth Vader throughout this whole movie. Okay, we've had a little discussion about the characters. The presentation, how they package all this. I think not only are the characters more fleshed out, I feel like the universe is more fleshed out in this movie. I feel like we're seeing more of space. Having okay, for example, yes, there's some space stuff in between on spaceships and the Falcon and all that, but the first act is effectively on Hoth, the second's then in the Dagobah system, and then the last is in Cloud City. And each of those three settings are so vastly different to each other. You got ice, you got swamp, you got city. The three ecosystems to any spacefaring culture. I just feel like we see more than what we see in the first movie, because in the first movie, we got Tatooine and then a bunch of space stations and a random rebel base here and there.
Yeah.
I just think everything about the settings of this is really good. And I love Hoth. I think Hoth is such a great way to start this movie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I would say that, you know, you were describing it as like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, you know, just the basic movie
Roughly,
structure,
yeah.
I guess. But I feel like this movie actually feels a lot more like it's Act 2, Act 2, Act 3. Like they just kind of get rid of any setup and then they just throw us straight into the movie. They don't feel the need to just explain anything. They're just like, all right, here's our characters, here they are. There's basically no spectacle. You know, there's no ooh or ah or any of that shit. It's basically just showing us the Hoth rebel base. And I think that modern movies and shows would, you know, typically set up these like massive, wide establishing shots to set the scene and provide context. But this movie is just like, you know, fuck it. Here's our characters. Let's just focus on them and what they're doing. And it just feels tense. It just feels like just from the start, they're working against the clock. And it's just one thing's going wrong, then the next thing's going wrong. And I just think that it sets a really cracking pace. Obviously, the Hoth scene is iconic, and I love that we basically have like a 40-minute introductory scene, which is just dedicated to the whole Battle of Hoth, and then it's like, all right, let's get out of here and go to the next area, kind of thing. I think that that's really, really interesting, really cool. I think overall, just regarding the presentation, obviously it's all beautiful, and you can tell that the quality, I think, has improved as well over the first film. I think it just looks a lot more dynamic, and kind of like you were saying, each of these three major different areas looks so distinctively different from each other, and we didn't really get that variety from the first film. I will say, though, I can understand why in the middle of the film, you know, it's basically set on an asteroid or inside the worm, or with Dagobah, it's kind of to represent, at least my interpretation is that it's meant to represent, okay, these are our characters at their lowest, and they're in just the shittiest space possible right now. But, I mean, I didn't enjoy when Luke was on Dagobah because I just think it looks ugly, and I didn't enjoy when...
You are a vain man, we know this.
I didn't enjoy when Han and Leia and all that were inside this worm because I'm like, it looks a little bit boring. But it also makes sense to me. So I'm like, I can't fault it. It's more just like a personal preference. But if I could change anything, I wouldn't change it, if that makes sense. But yeah, I just think overall the presentation is just incredible.
I think I agree with a lot of what you said, except for the Act 2, Act 3 thing, because you'll find that Act 2 actually showed up in the sequel trilogy and Luke was milking some alien cow things. So I think you're actually incorrect there, and we should edit around that mistake. I was holding on to that for so long. I had to Google it to make sure
let's cut all that shit out. Let's red card for you. Let's stop the recording.
I took so much effort. I even Googled it to make sure I remember the planet's name correctly. I do agree. But I like Dagobah. I like everything that happens there because it does represent them being at their worst, and it also represents Yoda being on the run. I love the introduction of Yoda really being one of the last of this. It really fleshes out what the Jedi are in this universe. They are in gross little swamp things, and they're gross little swamp critters. They're not like Vader, who, you know, we mainly see in the power of the Empire in his ships, or in Cloud City, this haven, and he has power over that city as well. So I mean, like, I do like the dynamic that's sort of set up there. Also, talking about dynamics that are set up, I do the weak transition, but I do like Darth Vader talking to the bounty hunters. I think even for such a small scene that is, it gives me the same energy as when they were in what was the pub on Tatooine?
Mos Eisley Cantina.
Yes, Mos Eisley Cantina. It gives me that sort of same energy where there's characters I would love to see more of, and even though we don't get much, it is just giving a richer view of what this galaxy is. Even the small thing that he says, which one is it? Jango? Boba Fett. It's Boba Fett at this point in time. The no disintegrations is just such a fun line. That 2 words gives so much context to those 2 characters. Yeah, I don't know. I just think everything that A New Hope does great is just so fleshed out in this movie.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
And I love a movie where the heroes lose. I mean, the heroes, it might end with a bit of a hopeful view of them looking over the galaxy ready for new adventures, but Luke's lost a hand. They're on the run effectively. They have lost, even though they have saved Luke from death. I don't know. I really like the way that this movie ends out. But unless you got anything else just about the presentation of the movie.
I was just going to say, I do like that scene with Han and Leia's like, I love you, and he's like, I know, and that's supposedly something that Harrison Ford, that's some of his input, that he feels like that's what his character would do rather than saying I love you too or whatever. But outside of that, I mean, I've kind of got some final thoughts. Do you have any last thoughts?
All right, yeah. I'm cool to. I don't really have any more notes left. I do just have one question for you. Would that "I am your father, we can rule the galaxy together" Luke speech, would that have worked on you?
I don't think it would have worked, but I think that, like, when I was watching this, in the moment, Luke was like so composed, and props to him, he was basically gonna commit, he's gonna unalive himself, and he just jumps down this hole. And then later on, like, Vader's like trying to talk to him in his head, and he's just like, "Ooh, Luke," or whatever. He's like, "Daddy," basically, just like, "Is that you?" So, I think he's kind of conflicted, but no, I don't think it would have worked for me. What about you?
It would have worked for me. I would have done it in an instant.
I mean, do I get a red lightsaber out of this?
Yeah. You get a red lightsaber, you look cooler.
Yeah.
You drip better, you drip harder, your bitch is badder. I'm sorry. And they have money. Dude, I've just spent all this time hanging around with Chewbacca. He probably smells like wet dog. Sassy robots.
I want to hang around Darth Talon. That's all I'll say.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm talking you around. All right. Well, let's wrap this whole thing up.
Okay.
What do we think? Has this movie stood the test of time? I think it's pretty obvious from our chat, but Lennon, final thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this movie, and I think why a lot of other people consider this to be perhaps the best or one of the best Star Wars movies, and potentially one of the best movies of all time, it does such a great job at building upon the already established world. Nothing here feels out of place, and nothing here feels for show. It just feels like there was never any point while I was watching this where I couldn't just suspend my disbelief and just be like, I am in this world. I'm just eating it all up. It's just so good. And I think that it does leave, like you said earlier on, that, the heroes in a way have kind of lost, and they almost, they're in a shitter spot than where they started the movie off. And I think in most movies that would be quite an unsatisfying conclusion to the movie. But there is so much that happens in this movie where we're given so much, it's almost like we're given a full course meal, but we're left with a cliffhanger that doesn't feel like it isn't earned. We're satisfied, but we're excited for what's coming next. And I can only imagine that that's what a lot of people felt when watching this in the movies when it first came out. What about you?
Could not have said it better myself. I think the universe is more fleshed out. The characters are more fleshed out. They're more rich in a way that does not negate what happened in the first movie. I think this goes down in history as really setting the precedent for great sequels to come, like, The Godfather 2 and then Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, like all those sort of things, I think.
And Attack of the Clones.
But yeah, no, I think that this really set the precedent for how to do a sequel. Wait, did this come out before or after The Godfather 2? Oh, well, it still set the precedent. But I think this just really, it is a perfect sequel to what is pretty much an infallible first entry to a series. It follows up perfectly, so yeah, I'm very happy. And I guess stay tuned next week, because we're going to be looking at how this trilogy ends with Return of the Jedi. Hello, loyal listeners. Hello, Lennon.
I'm Lennon. I'm loyal listener, Lennon.
Oh, you're a loyal listener. I'm a loyal listener. Oh, fuck. Loyal listener. And we are continuing on our series of Does This Movie Still Hold Up? And we're finishing off the Original Trilogy of Star Wars. Now, Lennon.
Yeah.
Do you consider life good?
I think I do.
And do you know that someday you and everyone you love will die? Okay, because all good things must die, and that is the end. This trilogy is ending, so that's all I want to say.
That's where you would go.
All right, so I that was off the cuff, buddy. This story, Return of the Jedi. Luke Skywalker. Wait, is this Return of the Jedi? Yeah, the third
Yeah,
one.
it is. What fucking movie are we talking about today?
I've watched the wrong one. No. Luke Skywalker and his allies set out to rescue Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt and lead the Rebel Alliance in a final assault against the Empire's new Death Star 2, bigger, badder, and uncut. As Luke confronts Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine, he struggles to redeem his father and restore balance to the Force. That is for anyone that hasn't seen this movie that's been out for longer than most people have been alive.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's just rip and tear. Let's just get into it. I'm thinking characters. I'm thinking the trio.
Okay.
I'm thinking I'm loving Luke in this one.
Oh yeah, he's way better.
Luke, yeah. Well, okay. Let's look at like the progression over the last 3 movies.
Luke's entered his emo phase.
Yeah, we've had whiny little boy, where his best strip was at the end of the movie. We've had, starting to get a bit more confident. Okay, I'm starting to like Luke in the second movie. He's still not got his best strip on. Maybe.
And he still doesn't have the power converters from Toshi Station.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this one, emo bad boy, I don't think he gives a fuck about power converters from Toshi Station.
He's got the black fingernails that, well, he probably doesn't, but the black gloves, the black.
Don't know. Wait, I think
we
you
don't
can
know.
see his hands.
He hasn't shown us his hands. One of them's fake, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it is. But like, I don't know. This is my favorite Luke look and he's got it on through, effectively pretty much the whole movie. I think the whole movie.
Sure
this is a sick Luke look. But like, I'm just also happy that he's tactical in this. Like, he's got a plan from the rip with all the Jabba stuff. He just seems like a capable Jedi Knight in this movie. And remembering this is before, if people were watching this when it came out, this is before people saw, the prequel series. So this is the most capable Jedi Knight that you would have seen.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on a Skywalker laddie?
I guess springboarding off of what you're saying, I really don't have that much else to say. I mean, he's probably had the biggest character change out of this trilogy from Empire to this movie. You can feel the years between the movies when it comes to this character. He's going into Jabba's palace. He's fucking force choking that dude. Like, he doesn't give a fuck, dude. He's a man on a mission, and his mission is basically just to, reunite with his daddy and turn him to the light, if you will. I think that his motivations are a lot more mature. It's like, rather than like, oh, I gotta learn the Force so I can take down the bad guys. It's more like, you know what? I sense conflict in my dad. I believe that there's still good in him, and he fucking stands. What's this? Well, yeah. You're the wind beneath my wings, Kim. But yeah, what about the other characters for you?
I sort of took the ball rolling with Luke. I want to hear your thoughts on the other Skywalker, on Leia.
Ooh, Leia. Well, it was interesting. I was listening to our conversation last week about how Yoda and Ben Kenobi are like, oh, well, there's another one. And then you said it was Leia, and I said, I'm pretty sure they're talking about Vader. But in this movie, they clearly, they're just like, you know what, fuck it. Leia's the other one that we're talking about here.
And I think maybe, like, as much as they're trying to watch these movies if it's for the first time, maybe my memory betrayed me, and I just immediately assumed Leia watching the last movie.
Yeah.
So my bad.
Who knows, man? Who knows? But I don't think that Han and Leia and the other characters really get as much growth as Luke. Like, I'm really glad, because Han really stole the show in the last 2 movies, and this is a story where Luke is the main character, really. And in this movie, it really puts Luke at the front and center. And the other characters are just like, they're just doing whatever the fuck. And
which I agree, it's needed.
Yeah.
It's definitely needed.
Even though Leia is just like, oh, I've always known you've been my brother, Luke. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
You've always known? You've always known.
Actually, when she tells Han that Luke is her brother.
Oh,
I was trying to put together the family tree as I was saying that. You know when she tells her that Luke's her brother. I swear to God, for a second there, you can see Han remember that they kissed right in front of him.
He's just like,
and then he remembers it as, oh, sweet, but I'm getting this. Like, it's fine. Weird,
I'm just
let's
gonna
continue.
my head hurts too much thinking about this. I'm just gonna keep just going forward. But yeah, okay.
It's like the space equivalent of when your girlfriend says, "Oh, he's just my gay friend," but you've seen them kiss plenty of time.
Yeah. There's nothing sexual going on, I swear. We're just good friends.
I will say one thing on Leia before we move on, though. I don't really have much to say about Han, except that carbonite freezing hangovers look horrible. I don't think I've ever had a weekend that big. I was blind.
Yeah.
The only thing I did want to say about Leia is, yes, I agree that the two side, the main trio, it's mainly Luke, which was needed, but I do feel like Leia's maybe a little bit more of an action role in this movie. Like, you know, she's taking a bit more charge when she's saving Han. She has that speeder bike chase later on Endor. I think she's a little bit more capable, I guess, in action wise, and we get to see her in a bikini, so that's pretty sick.
Is that the most important part for you?
I had to counterbalance. I had to make her a strong woman antagonist before I said, oh, but I was oogling those babooglas. So, moving on.
This whole ambiguity around the brother-sister thing is kind of gross, but fucking look at Slave Leia, though.
She was, I even found this weird as a kid, upon rewatches, obviously, but I found this weird as a kid. I guess maybe because like immaturity and like I wouldn't want to be pretty much naked in front of my siblings, but I've always found it weird that Leia was in that sexy ass bikini in front of her brother.
Yeah.
Anyway. Darth Vader. Let's get into the villains of this piece. We'll start with Darth, move on to the Emperor. What do you think of Darth Daddy in this one?
Oh, dude, so good. So
yeah.
This is the movie where he's just, I don't find him as like obviously intimidating or threatening as he is in the other movies. Like he really ramped up as the villain in the last movie, I felt like, where he was just like, I will stop at nothing to get what I need done. But this time he's just like, I don't know what I'm doing, you know? Like,
I mean, one thing on that, his intro scene is literally him going, the Emperor is not as forgiving as I am. It's like, why are you dick riding the Emperor? And when have you ever been forgiving? Like, when you choke dudes out in meetings.
He's kind of like using the Emperor's name to get away with like middle management. He's just like, oh, well, the Emperor wants this done. It's just like, oh, you should have said so. But yeah, this is the side of Vader that I think we needed. And for the turn to be believable, I think how he is portrayed in this movie is really satisfying because, you know, I do have my thoughts on this as a movie as a whole, but when it comes to the Vader turn, I think that that's probably the most satisfying and best element of this movie. So I really like how he was handled. What about you?
Yeah, I as much as I just dunked on him a bit, I think that the writing for Vader was pretty much perfect throughout this. And like, yeah, he is in a different place than he was in the last movie. Like in the last movie, he was very much the aggressor and only sort of realizes that Luke is his son throughout, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas this one, he does have a different goal in mind of getting Luke onto his side from the rip, you know? I feel like if
you will, I feel like he is trying to use the excuse of like, I'm totally wanting to keep him alive so we can totally bring him over to the dark side. Like he's just using that as an excuse. Like he hasn't actually, it feels like he hasn't thought it through the whole way. It's like he knows deep down that he wants to bring Luke over to the dark side, literally just to keep him alive. He hasn't really thought it that far ahead, I feel like.
I like that interpretation. I like that. Moving on to the other big bad, the Emperor. I pretty much love everything because like the thing is, I forgot throughout this series how late an addition the Emperor really is. Like he's in a little bit, but
I completely
for
forgot
him
about
to be in this, for him to be in this one so late in the series as a prominent figure, he steals the show for me whenever he's on screen.
And it actually works, unlike another trilogy in this universe,
where the Emperor also comes back in the third movie.
Oh, the dead speak.
It highlighted something. As much as I do love Vader, it did make me sort of want more Emperor in other previous movies, but at the same time, it was done so well that it's not a strong complaint. It's just like, it's almost like it's a yearning. It's a deep yearning from my pelvis. Just saying, I want more of that.
I yearn for the palps. Yeah.
Give me some more palpy palps.
He's sassy in this movie. He's always like scolding Luke, and even Vader is just like, oh god, this guy's such a dick. Luke, just go along with it. He's always like this. Just don't worry about him.
Just it's the older sibling trying to shut the younger sibling up. Just like,
this
Dad's gonna do this. Just play along.
He'll fucking bust your balls, but you know, you just gotta. You just got to be nice to him so you can keep getting paid, all right? This is what you got to do around here.
Yeah. Okay. Going forth, let's look at some side characters.
Oh,
Dude, I love Jabba the Hutt. I got a little... I had to do some research into this because, like, as soon as I noticed the puppet, the big animatronic bad boy, I was like, how did they do... This is extracurricular research I do just for this show. This is just for you.
Oh,
I
wow.
did this just for
Unlike
you.
you did at school, which you famously didn't finish. You know,
How do you keep telling
I don't know
people
why I project onto you this narrative that you never finished high school, but not only did you finish high school, you went to uni, and guess what? I didn't finish high school. I didn't finish high school
I forgot
twice.
that. I've had the best return. Oh, no. I've had the best return this whole
back
time.
to me just as much, dude.
Dude, I've been taking this, like, rolling over
You've been
this
taking
whole
it like
time.
a good boy.
Yeah, and I completely forgot. Hey, you bitch. Like, I've got a bachelor. Get your grade 12 certificate. Damn it. Oh, this has been going on for weeks. And I've been scratching my head at night going, how do I get him back for this? It's simply too cool.
Why I order?
Okay. My little extracurricular research. It took 6 puppeteers to make Jabba the Hutt work.
Holy
one
shit,
in each
really?
arm. Yeah, there was. If you look at like a X-ray, there is people galore all throughout this big guy. They've
There's
got
people
one in
on this
each of the
movie.
arms. Yeah. Guess what? They hired some people and they did some things, and you can't even see them. They're behind the scenes.
That's movie magic.
But they had one dude in each arm operating his respective arm, parts of the head and the tongue. Another dude in the tail moving the tail. Another one below the whole thing in the bottom bit to move his mouth. And 2 radio operators for each eye. And this was crazy for me. Each eye, both controlling dilation, direction, and the eyelids. Dilation is
Jesus
crazy.
fucking Christ, they had that technology back then?
That's what shocked me. I had to Google it twice. I even Bing searched it. But no, this I won't spend too much time on Jabba the Hutt other than I love this, and it's just a feat that it looks so good practically. I absolutely love this.
It's a feat for a hut that doesn't have any feet.
Yeah, do you have any side characters that you just couldn't get enough of?
I'm just gonna let us sit in silence after that.
After I said all that shit about Jabba the Hutt.
Yep. Unlike Empire, I probably don't have as much to say about the side characters because anyone that was introduced in the last movie, I think for the most part has a great continuation except for Boba Fett, which later has been not retconned but fixed with modern Disney era Star Wars. But back then that was the most unsatisfying, unceremonious killing of a character.
Dude, yeah, he's literally fodder. He's really the Knights of Ren of the original trilogy.
Oh, don't get me started about the Knights of Ren, dude.
But he just looks cool and he does jack shit.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I used to think Boba Fett was cool. He's a nerd in this. Oh, damn it.
Yeah,
I'm sad about Knights of Ren. Anyway, so continue.
You know what makes me sad? Unrelated, but it makes me sad thinking about... Have you heard about the Ben Solo movie that Disney said no to?
No. Oh, I think I haven't heard the details, but
yeah,
it's like it was a thing.
It's like Adam Driver or someone pitched this movie, and then apparently it was like, wow, this is like really cool. It's the backstory of like Ben Solo and all that stuff, and Disney was just like, nah. Sorry.
Cut to me in the rain, ripping my shirt and screaming at the sky,
turning into a wolf. No, but as for the other characters, I find this movie actually hard to talk about because I can't.
I wonder where this is going. I just get so turned
it just plays on the heartstrings, man. No, I feel like everyone is in the right place and positioned correctly in this movie. I think you get scenes like the sail barge and Jabba's palace and all that. Jabba the Hutt is getting choked out by Slave Leia, and then you've got Han and Chewie.
See, a strong female character. She gets hers back. Anyway.
Yeah. She chokes that bitch out, but
she's so hard.
Then Luke is like cutting people up on the sail barge. Like, it does such a good job at balancing all of these different characters and the chaos of these conflicts, which I think is really great. But as for characterization, I feel like there's nothing really new that's added outside of Luke. I think that they really just narrowed down on Luke and Vader, and they're the main ones. And the only real new implementation I felt like was the presence of the Emperor, which was just amazing. And then you have like a couple of tiny characters here and there, like Admiral Akbar and all that shit. But outside of that, it's just tunnel vision on Luke, Vader, and then maybe a bit of the Emperor.
I'm inclined to agree 100% with everything that you said there. I do think that it does hyper focus on everything going on with Emperor Darth and Luke. And to be honest, those are the highlights of the movie. I think this is the only reason this movie really, really works. There is something I do want to get to at the end of the movie because I've got a lot of big thoughts, big brain thoughts, my big juicy brain. But there are still some things along the journey that I do really like, so I might
Sure.
focus on those before I get to the big slam dunk at the end of the piece.
Sure.
Jabba's palace, that's fun.
Yeah.
Everything in Jabba's palace is so fun.
Except
I really
for one
think of
scene.
it. Which scene?
The fucking music note.
Oh,
every
no.
time. Every time I watch that shit, dude, I want to fucking put a gun in my mouth. Like, I see
You
that.
don't think she's sort of hot?
Which one?
That one.
Yeah, like no, just all of it is just fucking atrocious. Like, I hated it when I was a kid, and I hate it even more now. It's
Fair.
fucking annoying. It gets under my skin, but everything else is great.
Well, I've got a pitch.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember Mos Eisley Cantina Sunny in Philadelphia show?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like
Season
where this is
finale
going.
is here.
Fucking
Season finale.
oath, dude. I even thought to myself, I'm like, this movie incorporated that Mos Eisley feel with Jabba's palace
Yes.
that it was sorely lacking with the last movie. I'm so glad it's here.
We need
but
filthy little gambling Vegas cesspits. Like, we need that.
you know what I want?
I reckon-
I want an episode where it's like, you know how obviously the Rancor dies, and then the fucking Rancor owner, like, first of all, F in the chat for the Rancor, and also
Yeah, my
as
boy.
a dog dad, my deepest condolences to the Rancor owner. That poor guy just needed a hug. He just came in, he's crying, and I just want like an episode where it's like the gang cheers up that guy. For an
No.
episode.
If we're going full Sunny in Philadelphia, there'll be like some weird subplot where it's actually the gang's fault that the Rancor died. Like,
Oh,
Luke
yeah,
didn't actually hit the
absolutely.
button right, and it's Danny DeVito, and he's trying to flirt up the singer from the band, and he hits up the.
They're the
gang
ones
finds
who-
themselves in Jabba's Rancor pit.
They're the ones who accidentally dropped the gate on its head.
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah. All right. Moving away from Jabba, it's something that I almost forgot was in this movie, but it's so obvious is Yoda's death.
Oh, dude.
That's
yeah.
low. I don't know if it's just seeing old people pass away from age
It
or
made me
something. I actually got like emotional at this scene, and I don't really feel emotions much anymore. So
I think
maybe it's been this movie that's been roadblocking it for me.
I think kind of touching on what you were talking about with the enormity of the effort that went into Jabba and I want to say the puppeteering and like his, I don't want to say costume, but you know what I mean? Like, you know, the animatronics and stuff like that. The puppeteering and the animatronics that what went into the visual effects of Yoda is so amazing. The fact that whoever's acting as Yoda and what we're seeing really conveys such emotion. We still feel like that punch in the gut when he's dying. I think that's really impressive.
Yeah, I'm hustling at the bit to get into my hot take. I'm
Ooh,
looking at
okay.
my notes. I'm sweating. Do you have anything else to say before I really just dunk on this?
Okay, so I guess when it comes to like Yoda and then Ben Kenobi, it's like Yoda tells Luke when he's like dying, he's like, oh, you know, it's so unfortunate that you had to confront Vader because now you know the truth. Anyway, I'm going to die now. By the way, while I'm dying, here's another bomb that I'm about to drop in your lap. By the way, your sister is Leia. Bye. And then just dies.
Yeah,
and then
they
fucking
suck for that.
yeah, and then fucking Kenobi comes around, and it's just like he's got that
Gaslights him.
ultimate. Yeah, dude, he's got that ultimate F-boy gaslight energy. He's just like, damn, Luke, I don't know what to tell you. I was telling you the truth about your dad, but only from a certain point of view, so don't get mad at me.
You've said that to some ex-girlfriends before, haven't you? It's true from a certain point of view. If you really think about it like this, babe.
If you really think about it, it's your fault from a certain point of view. You know?
All right. I'm brimming at the bit.
Yeah,
my
go
hot
for
take.
it. You're about to blow. I can see it.
Oh, okay. I don't hate Endor, but delete it from the movie. Like I've got two planets that I think would be better than Endor and the Ewoks because I don't really enjoy the Ewoks. I'll start with
stand the Ewoks, dude.
yeah. I'll start with my lesser of the two.
Okay.
Because I want to focus on my better one. But I'll just quickly say, hey, how about instead of Endor, it's Kashyyyk. You can still have like the rainforest vibe, but instead of Ewoks,
yeah.
we have Wookiees. And
That'd
then
be
it makes
so
sense.
cool.
We get some more character development for Han and Chewie to actually do. We could explore how Chewie became Han's friend. And it makes more sense for Wookiees to take on the Empire than little tiny Ewok people. You know, like that makes more sense for me as a series. But that's my lesser of the two planets. Do you have any thoughts quickly on Kashyyyk instead of Endor?
All I'll say is that you're not going to sell as many plush toys of Wookiees as you would with Ewoks, Cam. So
just make
just
cheeky little Ewoks. I mean Wookiees, whatever. Like just make them cute.
Obviously just pulling your dick, but I 100% agree. I cannot stand the direction. It feels like, and I guess that's why I haven't even referenced it, because anything that happens on Endor outside of
skippable,
I don't know, the fucking defense of the shield generator, all that stuff that like Han and all that are doing, the movie screeches to a halt for me. And like, it's probably my attention span, but I understand that they're trying to do this like stealthy mission or whatever, but it's just slow and boring to me. And I feel like I wish they didn't introduce the Ewoks because I didn't care about them. And I agree, if you're pitching that they did this with the Wookiees on Kashyyyk, oh man, I would have loved that way more.
Are you ready for my better planet?
Oh no, okay. Oh, that's right, you had a second one. All right, hit me.
Yeah, I have a second one. I wish even more that it was just Tatooine. I've got some thoughts. Here we go.
Ooh,
so you know how Leia connects? Yeah. So you don't get the rainforest thing. Forget about that. Forget about that. It's a circle.
The shield generator is the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Oh, we can have them back. Yeah, okay. I didn't even have that. But yeah,
episode.
Let's go. Yeah. The gang breaks down the shield generator. No, okay. So if it's Tatooine, we still get some of the similar beats. So Leia hasn't been there yet, and so she can have that connection to the locals like she does with the Ewoks initially. You could even still have C-3PO somehow, with hopefully some good writing, be hailed as a god, and that would complete his arc a little bit, or at least give him an arc from slave when he was first on Tatooine to hailed as a god. That would be interesting. That's something you could write around. Could have had more aliens than just the Ewoks. You could have Jawas, and you could have this community that Anakin never had that Luke now has access to, because you could have the who are the other ones, the Tuskens, and like you could just introduce more, because we only really got Ewoks on that planet. And also, okay, so if you think maybe it doesn't make sense for Vader to put the shield generator on Tatooine because he hates sand, it wasn't Vader's decision, it was the Emperor, and is already trying to sort of low-key replace Vader with Luke, so it's sort of like a fuck you to Vader, and like it's sort of Sithy, in like I think it just works on so many levels, and it makes the trilogy story a round beat sort of story. You end up back on Tatooine, and it just gives that a lot more stakes. I find that infinitely more interesting than a new rainforest planet with little furry guys that are forgettable and I do not enjoy.
Well, look, as much as I hate how much this series hangs around Tatooine, with the hindsight of 9 movies, I'm sick to fucking death of Tatooine. I hate looking at it. I hate sand. It's everywhere. I'm looking at it and I'm like, let's get off this planet as soon as possible. However, that being said,
bit where you say you like my idea,
but from the original trilogy perspective, I actually think it would have been really cool if they went back. Oh well, they did go back to Tatooine at the start of the movie, to Jabba's palace.
End it there.
Okay.
The rebels then don't even need to leave. You just have a space battle above Tatooine, and Luke goes off to the Death Star to do his whole thing.
Sure, why not?
Because they've already killed their threat on Tatooine, so why are they really? Whatever. You can ride around these things. Anyway, that's my little hot take. Do you have any last thoughts before we get into our verdict?
Overall, this movie does a really great job. Well, it does what a sequel and a finale to a trilogy should do. I think it raised the stakes and the scope of the story. So you really feel like this fight is it. What Luke is trying to do, this is it. What the rebels are trying to do, like, you know, basically the Empire's just like, oh, wow, you blew up our Death Star? Ooh, it'd be a shame if we started building another one, am I right, everybody? And then, you know, the Rebel Alliance is like, well, we've got to shut that shit down. And it really does feel like this is our final fight. And I think that as far as that goes, this movie did a really great job. And I feel like we haven't really touched on that. And the last thing I wanted to quickly say is with Vader and having the funeral, you know, his turn to good, the execution and the ending, how Luke and Vader ended on a really good note at the end of the movie. I thought that was really special.
Yeah, I'll sort of start hitting into elements of my verdict here, but
yeah, sure.
I think everything with Jabba's stuff was sick, except for, you know, some little things that we talked about, like Boba Fett and the music note. I think a lot of that stuff was just jaw-dropping, great way to open the movie. I've something we haven't really talked much about, but I'll just blitz over, is I really love all the Star Wars, like the fights in space sort of stuff, like all the rebel ship designs. Amazing, great work. That was all really good. We already know I didn't really enjoy Endor much, and that is a large part of this movie, but whatever. But I think the highlight of this movie, and a great thing for the third act, is literally everything to do with the final battle and the final temptation or attempt at temptation of Luke between Vader, the Emperor, and Luke on the Death Star.
Oh,
That
100%.
is some of the best cinema, and I was like, I've watched this movie I don't know how many times, but it's every single time I watch it, it's the same emotions as the first time. Like,
Yeah,
it's just one of those perfectly written things.
Yeah, and how Luke is just choosing, he's just like, nah, I'm not gonna fight you. Like, throws his lightsaber, I'm like, that's fucking badass.
And that is the hopeful hero, and is really one of the first ones to really do that sort of thing. And Darth, even throughout, even the fight, initially his angle is, I'm desperate to get Luke to join our side. Luke is going to join our side, and I'm still under Emperor's wing. But seeing him slowly sort of turn throughout the fight to back Luke's side, I think it's just it's a perfect way to end that part of the movie. And I guess like the main character's journey. I think that's absolutely amazing. So let's get into absolute final thoughts. Does this movie still hold up? Because we have said some good things and bad things.
As far as this movie holding up, on a technical level, it does. I just think that out of the... So yes, I think it does. But out of the three movies, I feel like this is the least watchable one or rewatchable one out of the three. I just didn't enjoy rewatching it as much as I really enjoyed the other movies. But I think that being the finale in a trilogy, it's a really tough spot because you basically have to wrap up all of these open threads. And I think that this movie did a really good job of that. It's just that maybe I just didn't really feel that it was as exciting as I would have hoped. What about you?
Yeah, I think even though it has like its weak points, I think it's still a great movie, and it still definitely holds up. But if we are comparing it to the other two, this is a little bit of a disappointing note, because you do want the ending of such an epic trilogy to be not easily decided as the worst of the three.
Yeah.
But for me, I just feel like, you know, the first one, our first entrance to a lot of this stuff, and the journey's just starting. And then the second one, I love the bad guys winning at the end, and it's just almost a perfect movie throughout. Whereas this one, I think during this conversation, this is the most we've had to say on a pros/cons list.
Yeah.
For any of this. Okay, real quick, out of the trilogy, which one is the best? Well, just give me the title.
Empire Strikes Back.
No, I was gonna 3-2-1 it.
Yeah, well,
it's
beat
Empire
you to
Strikes Back. Because it's Empire Strikes Back. It definitely is Empire Strikes Back. All right, well, that has been our review of the Orig Tridge.